Okay.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson with another installment of the Hall of Game podcast. Today, we're just doing a one-on-one with one of our brothers who creates a lot of content for Black men, Dr. Patrick Dix. I'll let him introduce himself and what he does. Go ahead, brother.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Patrick Dix coming from South Carolina, and I have over 20 years of information technology experience. I'm currently a faculty member. I have a full-time job. I enjoy teaching, and I'm here to help you brothers out tonight to learn more about interviewing and how to deal with rejection when you interview for a position and you don't get it, and how to move forward.
All right, and that's very important, especially right now during the COVID pandemic. And as you know, my name is O'Shea Duke Jackson, almost a doctor. 5 more months, I'll be like him. So I'll be really, get my swag on. So I thank you, brothers, for being here. Dr. D, why are we talking about this today?
Throughout the course of my life, I know I applied for 900 jobs one year, and I went to every interview. And out of each interview, I didn't get the job, and sometimes it was discouraging. So after about 4 or 5 rejections, I had to sit back and say, the resume is getting me there. Is it the resume? So then I sat back and thought about it. It must be me, because I'm getting to the interview, they're seeing something that they like. And when I would get to the interview, I would answer all the questions and I will be able to go through everything. But one of the things I remember my uncle telling me, he said, your resume must match what you do, because people will go through your resume and ask questions that don't even apply to it. So you have to know the resume better than the people. And from him telling me that and applying it and going back through, I was able to get jobs. And now I've learned jobs are really a psychological test to see how you get along with people.
Mm-hmm.
Are you what not are do you meet what's on paper, pretty much?
Right.
And you get along with not tasks. Can you get along with people? Can you perform things, or are you difficult to deal with?
Okay. So let me go back to the problems that you were initially having on the resume. What about the resume that you were having problems with?
Some of the stuff I listed on there, it wasn't actually correct. It was correct, but how I had it wording is key on a resume. Because you need to be specific and get to the point. I was researching, and the average person only takes 8 to 15 seconds to look at your resume. So there's certain words you put in bold. There are certain ways you start off sentences. And I have a summary on my resume to where you can sum my background up in a couple of sentences. And going through the resume, just seeing how it was formatted, seeing how everything looked. Because one of the things I tell everybody, looking at something on a computer and looking at it in person is different. Basically, I would print my resume out and I would actually look at it to pretend if a hiring manager got it, what would they see? You have to put yourself in their position.
Okay. So let me ask you, because some brothers are already right now in a particular job. It's not like everybody's unemployed. How long, do you? Let's just say, for example, updating the resume. I haven't had a job for a long time, but how often do you update it, just in case? You could be happy at your job right now, but just in case you're looking for a future endeavor, a future position. How often should Black men be updating their resumes to show the accomplishments they're making? And the new skills they're acquiring. How often should they be doing that?
Every month or every time you perform a task.
Okay.
One of the things is what I used to do when I was younger, didn't have much experience. I would wait and then I would try to remember, what did I do? It's best to time you complete a task. So they give you a project on a job. Make sure you go ahead and put it on your resume. Put it down in a sentence. Even if you don't perfect it, write down that sentence. So later down the line, you can go back and write the sentence more professionally to say, I executed, I installed, I used the cost analysis. One of the big word, you don't have to use big words in a resume. Words like cost savings help people, because business is about making money. If somebody picks up your resume and they see money, words like reduced cost, executed, helped out, it shows that you are a person that thinks about saving money. You can get along with people. And if you have performed tasks, in other words, you can start something and you can finish it.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So let's get into the gist of it because obviously a lot more black men nowadays have went to college, have finished some
Mm-hmm.
level of trade school. It was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you are around the same age group. When I was coming out of college, just to have a BS degree in the early mid 2000s, late 2000s, even for a company that you weren't in that field, it really kind of just gave you, like okay, you went to school, so you don't have any experience in this, but we'll take you.
Yep.
From what I believe now, it's a little bit more intricate and it's a little bit more difficult. So now you have a lot more qualified applicants
Yep.
for a smaller amount of jobs or the same amount of jobs. And so you have a lot of qualified people, a lot of qualified African American men that are being rejected
Mm-hmm.
uh, for whatever reason. Why do you think that you have a lot of qualified African American men that are applying to positions but not getting the jobs?
For your job history, one of the things is if your job history looks too frequent, I say you should switch jobs every 3 to 5 years, but if you're switching jobs every year, that could be a factor. Two, if you haven't stayed at a job long enough, that goes on to the first point I was just talking about. You have to have some durability at a position and it needs to show a steady pace up. You can't say I was the entry level computer programmer for 10 years because the first thing they're going to say, well, you didn't make any strides to move forward. Did you get any training? Did you get any certifications? And another thing is have jobs on there that are relevant. Okay, for instance, if you worked at a convenience store in college, that is not something you put on your resume. All of the jobs on your resume are to pertain to what you're trying to do. If you
Mm-hmm.
were an intern, it applies.
Mm-hmm.
If you work like at McDonald's or like when I was in college, I worked at Walmart. Walmart should not never be on my resume because Walmart has nothing to do with computer science. It was a job that helped me get through school, but I don't put it on my resume. And also, if a job is over about 10 years old, you need to take it off your resume. If it's something very profound, there are minor exceptions, but if it's something from 2009, it does not need to be on your resume. Not at all, because they're
Okay.
going to say, why do you have a job on here for 2009 when it's
Mm-hmm.
2021? By
Mm-hmm.
that, that's actually 12 years. You
Mm-hmm.
should have actually migrated up, or you should have made more progression to a different position.
Okay, let me talk about this before we kind of get into the rejection piece. One
Mm-hmm.
of the things that I know in the Hall of Game that we talk about a lot, especially with the small business entrepreneurs such as myself, and then the
Mm-hmm.
professional guys like yourself and Gabe dabbles in a little bit of both. One of the things we all can agree with, even Andre Hatchett,
Mm-hmm.
the whole ideology of internships and the power of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling guys like even in medical school, I did an internship with some bigger YouTube channels to
Mm-hmm.
learn the business. Not that it would look good on my resume, but because it gave me more of an insight into the culture of the business and understanding it, how it worked, and how
Mm-hmm.
to how content manufacturing worked. And now I'm having much more success. And I see a lot of brothers, especially the ones that are changing careers. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you may have graduated from a tech school or graduated college, but you haven't really looked at this internship to build your portfolio, whether it's paid or unpaid.
Yeah.
How important are internships for resume building for African American men right now, especially during the pandemic?
It's essential because if you go on Indeed.com, there are remote internships. Your internship might be to go into the VPN. Say you work for a company, go through their VPN and look at some files and write up a summary. It's essential. Right now, you're going to need everything possible to get a job because you have 500,000 people applying for 400 jobs. And that's a very, very big number of people for a little amount of jobs. So whatever you could do to stick out. And in those internships give you a taste of the professional life. They'll let you see how people work. They'll let you see how money is dispersed. We had a guy in the group where I currently work at now. He interned for about a year and he was able to get a good grasp of how things work and also how to deal with people. And also these internships allow you to build relationships. So where if it doesn't work out and they say, well, your internship is up, you have a direct line to get to somebody and say, hey, I saw that job y'all posted. I was just out there 5 months ago. Can I send you my resume and give you a call or get a referral for it?
Okay, and let me talk about this because I'm not really me personally. I'm on LinkedIn, but not necessarily so much. But
Mm-hmm.
I do know that the power of things like LinkedIn and
Yep.
making connections through internships or past work experience, those things help. Also, maybe not necessarily building the resume, but obviously,
Yep.
LinkedIn is almost like a
Yep.
online resume, right?
Yep. I got a job off of LinkedIn. No, I got two jobs. I got my Department of Defense contractor job.
Okay.
I met a guy 2012 that worked for a company, and he referred my information, and I got that position. And I also got a faculty job by connecting with somebody and telling her my qualifications. And about 5 years ago, 6 in the morning, she said, "Send me your resume," and the rest is history.
Okay.
So on your LinkedIn profile, I have a very professional picture. I had about 6,000 connections. I got rid of a lot of them because I went through and said a lot of them don't apply to me. They're not doing what I'm trying to do. I connect with anybody, lawyers, doctors, engineers, police people, FBI, CIA, people in my field, people not in my field. And I'll send them a message saying thanks for the connection, and I'll read through their profile. This is the back door. This is some knowledge that a lot of people don't know. If you apply for a job, what you can do, if you know the hiring manager, take their name and put it in Google. If they have a LinkedIn profile, you connect with them. And that way you have a direct line to the hiring manager. You can actually email them and say, "Hey, I applied for the job. You see my LinkedIn profile. I can send you my credentials." I have done that numerous times. Everybody submits their resume to a human resource person or to a database. But what are you doing on the extra end to say, "I need the job"? If you can find the email number or find the office number of the person recruiting for it, send them an email or call them and say, "Hey, I'm very qualified. I want this job. I need this job. These are my qualifications." And keep trying till you get a hold of someone.
Okay. Okay. Now, guys, I hope you guys understand it because one of the things that a lot of you brothers was complaining I wasn't doing enough of these things is the power of internships. I wish I would have did that when I was finishing college. It would have really helped me get to my goals. So, if you're a person trying to become an entrepreneur or you're trying to get into a new field or changing careers, I can tell you that internships work, whether it's formal, hopefully it's formal, right? But informal, even for me, if
Yeah.
I can learn things from other creators, I look at it as internship or consulting or coaching, things like that. Those things really, really help you. But let me kind of get into this rejection because a lot of brothers are applying for these jobs, and then I know what has been happening for me before. Rejected. You didn't get it. You start to lose a little bit of confidence.
Yep.
Okay, and so then how do you handle? Look, I did what I was supposed to do. I'm trying to apply for these particular jobs. These companies are showing interest. I'm getting maybe to the final interview.
Yep.
But I'm not making the cut. How do I deal with that?
I can talk about it from personal experience. 9 years ago, to be 10 years ago, I got fired from my first job. I've talked about this numerous times on the Hall of Game. It was for a company. I was a computer programmer. I started that job December 6, 2010. August 24, 2011, they brought me in a room and said, "We don't need your services no more. We won't fight unemployment, so you're going to be able to get unemployment." And I pretty much was terminated September 30th, 2011. At that time, I was going to grad school, so I was still moving forward with life. But at that time, I said, "Well, I don't have a job right now." And I started applying to jobs like crazy. At that time, I was fresh out of college. I didn't have any other experience, so I had to take entry-level jobs. And I remember sending my resume to at least 900 people, 900 companies. And I'm not even lying about this because I still get, I got an email from somebody saying, "Hey, we have your resume in our database." I said, "From when?" She said 2014. And this was 7 years ago that I applied for a job because the Department of Defense contract I was working for one time, they had to let us go due to the issues. And I applied for jobs, applied, got interviews. One of the worst interviews, some of the worst interviews are panel interviews because it's intimidating. When you're young and you don't know anybody that's ever went on a panel interview, you got 7 people looking at you asking you the same different questions, some people playing on their phone. It messes up your confidence. So you're in there asking questions. You're sweating. You can feel your armpit sweating. You can feel the sweat dripping off your forehead. And you'll say, man, I nailed that. I'm looking forward to another interview. Because, I will always shake people's hand with confidence, make eye contact, do all the stuff I read up on, the stuff people told me to do. So about a week later, they said, we'll be in touch with you. I will write back and they said, well, I wanted to let you know they decided to move with different people. And I'm like, what? We made in my head, I'm thinking myself and the hiring manager, male or female, made a good connection. Excuse me. And I would assume I had the job. So I did that a bunch of times. And after a while, it beat my confidence down. I said, what the hell am I doing wrong? I'm going in here, I'm applying, I'm confident. My suit is sharp. My suit is sharp. I don't really have that much cologne on. And at that time, I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, wow, it's them, not me, because I'm interviewing. What I would do, I would even watch shows on the weekend and say, let me rewrite my resume a little bit. Let me restructure it. I would get an interview and I would get to the interview. And after a while, you're like, well, what am I still doing wrong? I can't get a job. Mm-hmm. I went on about 40 interviews. I came back home. I talked to my mom. I said, what am I doing wrong? She said, well, what you think you're doing wrong? You need to talk to somebody. So I spent a lot of time at Barnes & Noble in 2011 through 2012. I still had the book's interview questions. Mm-hmm. I will prepare more and say, well, they might ask me my strengths and weaknesses. I will be prepared for that because they always told you if it's a weakness, it's something you're working on. Okay. So I would do all of that, still wouldn't get the job. My confidence was beat. I'm like, damn, I ain't gonna never get a job. My savings going down.
Right.
At that time, I was getting refunds from school about twice a year for the grad program, and that was still carrying me over, and I was able to get unemployment. So it wasn't a hustle, but I'm like, I want a job to build my work history. So lo and behold, the last interview I got, the Department of Defense contract, I walked in there. It was a very informal interview. I knew when I walked in, the guy was sitting down in a chair. He just sat across from me and we interviewed. And I said, wow, I have this job, because it wasn't pressuring. It felt more of a conversation. I've noticed the jobs to where I went to interview and it was a conversation. It felt very, it felt informal, and felt like I was just talking to somebody. And they told the dude 2 or 3 days later, you have the job. So I just kept pushing throughout. I mean, at times like that, it's hard to believe in yourself. Unfortunately, it was just myself and my mom. But imagine being out there on your own and you say, man, I got to get a job. I ran up my credit card and everything, man. I'm telling you, I got some stories to tell about that stuff. My credit card going up. And I just believed in myself. I kept praying. I kept pushing through. And I look back on it now, all of those places I interviewed for that told me no are actually having problems. I interviewed for General Dynamics. If anybody knows anything about the Department of Defense, General Dynamics is a huge contractor, and they build a lot of defense stuff and the systems and aircraft and stuff. That company is not even around. So I look back on it as a blessing above, because those companies are not around. And I think about, if I had got a job at one of those companies, how would my life have turned out? Because every failure was another notch to keep pushing me forward and forward. And lo and behold, the job that I got gave me a security clearance. A job in 2012 prepared me for a job in 2016 that I got. That's something to say, because it took some people 2 to 3 years to get a security clearance, and I already had it, and I was able to hit the ground running.
Wow, that's an amazing story, because I tell guys myself that, the guy that before I came here in the end of 2014, the guy that fired me from my last job, I only been fired one time, but the last job before I came here, I'm pretty sure he don't make what I make now. So it's just good. Like I said, it's a good thing that if you have that, you don't get something, you have those people around you that can encourage you. And I like what you said, because typically when you said it's not them, it's me. But in this case, you said, no, it's not me, it's them. I like that mentality when it comes to getting the jobs and stuff like that, because you're like, wait a minute, you're missing out on a great employee. What do you mean you don't want me? And how do you keep that mentality up when you're not getting the job and you have enough to say, oh, y'all are the ones making the mistake, not me? How do you do that?
You just believe in yourself. We've talked about this several times. If you know you are great at what you do, believe, have faith. You got to believe in yourself. That's one of the biggest things black men got to remember. If you don't have a supporting cast, believe in yourself, no matter what happens in life. And I knew after a certain point, I said, I can't be messing up. It's got to be the people, because I'm hitting everything, as I was just saying, on point, doing everything correctly. I kept it up, kept pushing forward, believing, praying, putting forth the good foot. You know, just waking up saying, today's my day. I did a lot of walking because I still stay in a rural area. I remember walking up and down the road, just thinking a lot, man, like, wow, man, what's going to go on? What's going to happen? Those times like that really test you. They test you as a human. You grow. And O'Shea, you talked about this too. When you have situations like that, you find out what you're made of. And I found out a lot of what I was made of during tough times like that, dealing with death in my family, but dealing with the loss of a job, finances you don't know, because you feel that everybody else is getting ahead. Because this is in 2011. I graduated with my computer science degree in 2010. So I would go on Facebook and see all the guys taking photos. I'm like, damn, I'm behind. Not knowing me sitting still was some of the best things to ever happen to me, because it built my belief, it built my faith, and also it built my inner encouragement to tell myself, no matter what happens, you can handle it. And it also told me, no matter what you do in life, be prepared, because nothing is promised. And you may have a job, but you need to have a backup plan. You need to have about 10 backup plans. I'm just being honest. If you got one job, you need to have 7 side hustles. Somebody would say, how is that possible? Well, in this day and time, you'll find a way to get it done, because you can do a lot of things from your computer. Yeah. And tough times like that really harden your exterior and make you tough inside, because I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people never got fired from a job. I can go give a seminar on being fired from a job and how depressed and how worthless. As a man, you getting fired from a job makes you feel real low, because the thing in the past that has happened when people got fired, man, you know, people say, man, you don't know what you're doing. I would tell somebody right now, if I got fired from a job, it wouldn't bother me. And I would tell somebody else, don't worry about getting fired from no job. Do your best. Stay ahead of the game, because if those people fire you, it won't even be 5 years. I'll give it 12 to 18 months. Those people, that company might not even be there. So God already took you out the circle and moved you ahead. So don't let ignorant family members and ignorant friends bring you down when you go through tough situations, because black men, is going to be some challenging situations. There are things I went through going through school, the doctorate program. My fiance, she was my girlfriend. She could not help me. Black men, I'm going to tell you, the way you will know in life, if you're doing something superior, nobody can help you. If you don't fix it, nobody can fix it. Because O'Shea, you got to think about taking medical exams. There is nobody you can call and say, I need help. No. I remember writing that dissertation saying, there is nobody I can call to say, how do you start a dissertation? The only other person in my family is my mom's brother that has a doctorate degree, but he is in his mid-50s. He graduated with a doctorate degree 25 plus years ago. And you know, things have changed. That's sad. And I always wanted to tell myself, as a black man, I want a black man to say, I know another black man that's got an engineering degree, that's a doctor, that's a psychologist. I can call them. We got to have more people in our community that you could reach out for a lifeline and say, man, how do I start this off? Because it was a blank piece of paper and the professor said, start writing. I had already knew what I was going to write about, but when you get into things like that, to where nobody can help you, you're on to something great. It's tough, it's mentally wearing on you, but it makes you a better person. And I went through that program, flying back and forth. It has made me a better person, mentally and physically. But there were some tough times. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you. There have been some nights. I don't even think I told my fiance. I was sitting in the house quiet. I'm like, God, what in the hell am I doing? Because you got to write a 5-page, you got to write a 10-page paper, have all this stuff done. And that's where a lot of belief from 6-7 years ago saying, I can do this. I know I can do it. Like you said, I am not starting something and stopping it, because one of the things is they said if you tell people what you're doing to an extent, it will make you say, you know what, I can't tell them people I failed. It will make me look bad. So I got to complete it through. But one of the things in life black men got to realize, I did not go to school for a woman. I did not go for my family. I went for the person looking back in the mirror every morning. That's the first person you start with as a black man in life, making sure you're happy. Don't go to school saying I did it for the family. Do it for yourself. Okay. So I was long waiting on that, man. You know,
no, it was great. It was great, man. It's been a great haul, man. So, you know, for the brothers out there that would like to maybe, I don't know if you have a, you know, email you want them to reach out to you or something like that. We could put it in any way they can, if people want to contact you, or any last words you got.
I'm on LinkedIn, Dr. Patrick Dix.
Okay. So we'll post that there. Well, that you guys can see. And Doc, it was a great episode. It's the first time we've actually done a haul without doing it live, but we'll see how this format works. And I know the other guys will be jealous, you know, but you know, mediocre tutorial reviews, Gabe, I know he's gonna be in there. Man, where about me, brother? So, you know, but I want to thank all you guys, and I appreciate you, brother, for coming on and spreading the knowledge. And you come up with excellent titles and topics for the guys over here. Guys, if you want to be a part of the Hall of Game, maybe we might have some openings in March, maybe some different guys we can probably work with. But email us and we'll definitely try to build that community amongst this content, because obviously I'm not just about the, you know, the entertainment. We do like to talk about this. And any last words?
No, I appreciate being able to come through, and I'll tell most of the guys out there, a good bit of the stuff I talk about on the Hall of Game is from personal experience. Job losses, dealing with women, simp stories. I've done it all. I'm 36, and I could tell you I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, but I'm still here. So I've learned from the experience from it. And black men, no matter where you at, you can grow up to be something very great. So if you're down in the gutter now, you can also come up out and be a doctor, be a nurse, whatever you want to be. Don't let anybody hold you back. Just believe in yourself, and you can do everything you want to.
All right, guys. So again, thanks, Doc, for coming through. It was a great session. We'll see how this format does. And if we get a lot of good feedback on this, we'll definitely keep, maybe, you know, switch more a little bit to this format, mix it up with the live streams. And make sure you subscribe with the bell. And as you brothers know, the buffoonery remains at all-time high. We're out.